This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy. I had to finish the rest of my intro. But man, what started off as such a promising night for the New York Knicks ends up being a painful night. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks came out the gate blazing hot. They started off knocking down 3 straight threes and taking a 9-0 lead over the Los Angeles Lakers, and they would proceed to build a 21-point lead in the first half. The ball movement was crisp. It was popping all over the place. They made quick decisions. They didn't stop and over dribble. They played without thinking. They kept the ball moving. The pace was amazing in the first half. They were running in transition. They were playing great defense. The play was infectious. They took a 15-point lead in the halftime, ladies and gentlemen. A 15-point lead in the halftime. And then the question from everybody was, can the Knicks do it again? Can the Knicks repeat what they did in the first half? 71 points scored in the first half for the New York Knicks. 71 points. They come out the third quarter. The Los Angeles Lakers immediately go on a 5-0 run and cut a 15-point lead down to 10 within the first minute of the quarter. I think most people held out hope that the Knicks would be able to reestablish themselves, but they never did. The Lakers continued to gain confidence. They started playing aggressive defense, and the refs let the aggressive defense go. I'm not blaming anything on the referees. I'm just saying they let it go, and the Knicks didn't really respond. Maybe they did, but it might have been too late because the game got physical, and it played to the favor of the Los Angeles Lakers. Guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis started to get going, but Malik Monk got hot. They got going, but Monk got hot. And the New York Knicks had no answer for Malik Monk. And on the offensive side, the Knicks stalled. They stuttered. The ball began to stick. The ball movement stopped. And as we got into the fourth quarter, about halfway through the fourth quarter, the Knicks had only scored 24 points in the second half. And it really started to feel like the New York Knicks were dead in the water, ladies and gentlemen. But then, down the stretch of the game, down 9, with just a few minutes left, the Knicks get hot. I guess I don't want to say they got hot, but they had some plays go their way. The Los Angeles Lakers missed some free throws. The Knicks were able to capitalize. And R.J. Barrett hits a 3 to tie the game, send it into overtime. LeBron James did have a chance with 8 seconds left to try to win it, but he missed a 3-point shot. The game goes into overtime. In overtime, Knicks, Lakers go back and forth with some bad offense. And then finally, LeBron James scores off of a mental blunder by the New York Knicks. There was jump ball on the Knicks side of the court. It was tapped by Horton Tucker, and it was on its way out of bounds, and Evan Fournier, instead of letting it go, saves it, and he saves it to LeBron James, and LeBron James scores in transition to give the Lakers an early lead in overtime. The Knicks came back, scored a couple of buckets, but they were never able to get any footing in overtime, and they lose to the Los Angeles Lakers 122-115. Ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks again had a 21-point lead in the first half, and they weren't prepared to come out in the second half and put the game to bed. Classic New York Knicks, at least this year. They just can't be consistent. They can give you and show you the possibilities, but then they turn around and show you why those possibilities can't come to fruition. R.J. Barrett, ladies and gentlemen, the man is becoming a star right in front of our eyes. He played 49 minutes and 37 seconds tonight. He had 36 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. Shot 46.4% from the field and 40% from the three-point line. Julius Randle, playing against his old team, played very well. 32 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists. Shot 50% from the field and 50% from the three-point line. Evan Fournier, he was okay. He was okay. And I'm not going to kill him for that mental mistake there, but, he was okay. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists for Evan Fournier. He only shot 30% from the three-point line. Only shot 35.7% from the field overall. And then Alec Burks, he had 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. He didn't play great, but nobody else on the bench was playing good basketball. So there wasn't anybody who's in the rotation, and I already know people are going to say Cam. And I hear you. I dig it. And I know what you're saying. I'm just saying right now, with the way things are, nobody else was producing. So Alec Burks had to stay in the game. 12 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 28.6% from the field, and 25% from the three-point line. We had no production from anybody else, ladies and gentlemen. Mitchell Robinson rebounded well. He had 11 rebounds, only 4 points for Mitchell Robinson. Kemba Walker, 7 points. Emmanuel Quickly, he only played 4 minutes and 51 seconds, no points. Obi Toppin, he had 4 points. Quentin Grimes didn't score. And Steph and I, before the game, we both said, and I think Nate was here too, that we thought the bench should win this matchup against the Lakers bench, and they did not, because Malik Monk had 29 points off the bench for the Los Angeles Lakers. 29 points for Malik Monk off the bench. LeBron James had 29 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. Anthony Davis, he had 28 points and 17 rebounds. Trevor Ariza had 11 points. On a night when Russell Westbrook was the worst version of Russell Westbrook, Malik Monk stepped up and played his basketball game. Played a really good basketball game, man. He was 55% from the field. He was 4 for 8 from the three-point line. And he basically dominated the third quarter. Put the Los Angeles Lakers on his back in that third quarter, ladies and gentlemen. Malik Monk in the third quarter had 18 points in the third quarter, 6 for 9 from the field, and it was 3 for 4 from the three-point line. The Lakers dominated the third quarter, 31-13. For the New York Knicks, R.J. Barrett scored 4 points in the third quarter. And then Julius Randle scored 3. Mitchell Robinson, 2. Evan Fournier, 2. Kemba Walker, 2. RJ was 25% from the field in the third. Randle, 20% from field in the third. Evan Fournier, 20% from the field in the third. The Knicks played a terrible, terrible third quarter. 4 turnovers in the third quarter for the New York Knicks. Only 1 for the Los Angeles Lakers. That's the story of the game. When you look at the first half numbers, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at the first half numbers, the New York Knicks played amazing basketball. They shot 50% from the field. They were 45% from the three-point line. R.J. Barrett was 3 for 5. Julius Randle was 2 for 4. Evan Fournier was 2 for 4. Kemba Walker was 1 for 3. Barrett had 21 points. Randle had 20 points. Evan Fournier had 10 points. 71 points for the New York Knicks in the first half. 17 assists for the New York Knicks in the first half of the game. 17. And they ended the game with 24 assists. Only 7 assists in the second half of the basketball game, ladies and gentlemen. It's a tough one to swallow because we all know what lies ahead. So what really, really does make it tough because we know what lies ahead. This was a game that the Knicks really needed to get. They were 24-28. They win this basketball game. They're 25-28. And not only that, but they jump a half a game ahead of the Washington Wizards if they win this game. And they should have won this game because they had a 21-point lead. They would have jumped a half game ahead of the Washington Wizards and been a half game behind the Atlanta Hawks. Now, they're a half game behind the Washington Wizards, and they're a game and a half behind the Atlanta Hawks, but the spread is getting wider. The Hawks are 25-27. The New York Knicks are 24-29. The Hawks are in the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference. Separation is building. And the Knicks have a tough 3-game stretch coming up. That, for all intents and purposes, ladies and gentlemen, can put the Knicks to sleep for the season. That is why this game was so very important. And they had it in the palm of their hands, ladies and gentlemen, and they were not able to pull it out. They had it in the palm of their hands, and they blew it. What more can you say? Looking at the stats that you see on the screen right now, don't worry about the rebounding stats. I'm about to get those updated in just a second. The Knicks did win the rebounding battle, by the way, but I don't think it was 52-50. But they won the rebounding battle. Doesn't matter because they lost the game. 24 assists for the Knicks, 29 for the Los Angeles Lakers. Again, the Knicks had 17 assists in the first half of the basketball game. 17. 14 turnovers for the New York Knicks, 13 for the Los Angeles Lakers. The Knicks shot 39.8% from the field. They shot 39.8% from the field, ladies and gentlemen. And this is just to remind you that they started off the first half, shooting amazingly. Like, they really, really shot well in the first half. They began the game shooting well. To go from shooting, and let me just make sure I get this accurate for you, 50% from the field in the first half to 45%, and 45% from the three-point line in the first half to shooting 40% from the field and 29% from the three-point line. That's just terrible. That's just terrible basketball, man. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? I'm going to get those rebounding numbers updated. I don't think you even care about those rebounding numbers, to be honest with you. But I'm going to do it just because. And as soon as my man Big Bubba evens himself up in the middle of the screen, gets everything right, I'm going to let him in so I can find out what he thinks about this game. I definitely got to open up the phone lines, ladies and gentlemen. I know you got some stuff to say. Big Bubba, man. Disappointing night for the New York Knicks. What's good?
What's going on, son? Shout out to the chat. He said, man, this is a disappointing night overall. You know, the Knicks needed this one. The Knicks had the game in their hands. Um, it's just really frustrating, Sim. It's just so frustrating when you have the game in your hand. You're up 21 points, and I know there's a game. I know NBA is the game of run nowadays, but you just can't let these kind of opportunities go. You know, especially in the arena. Again, the third quarters, of course, have come back to haunt the Knicks again. Um, to me, it was just a combination of look, it was a combination of Thibs rotations again, I believe. Julius Randle kind of coming out there, playing ISO ball, hero ball in the beginning of the third quarter, kind of killed the momentum of the ball movement and everything. It's just frustrating, man, because it's just like every time the Knicks show us a little something about how this team can finally do something, it just you can't be fooled no more because this is who they are.
Yeah, I mean, I really think there's only one rotation that hurt. That was Nerlens Noel being out there in that third going into the fourth quarter.
I was just about to say that. I wholeheartedly.
That is the one right there. I know, people in the first half were, like, why did he take RJ out? You seen a tweak in the rotation. Took RJ out with, normally RJ plays almost the entire first quarter. He took him out with about 3 minutes left and then brought him back at the top of the second quarter. And he played almost the entire second quarter, I believe. RJ Barrett played like 49 minutes tonight.
He did play 49. He played.
Yeah, like 49 minutes. And then he did the same thing in the third, and it looks like this is part of his new rotation. So instead of bringing in Cam Reddish, he's having RJ in that spot, it looks like, right? Because then on the floor was IQ, RJ, Grimes, Obi, and Nerlens. And then RJ kind of played, I'm going to look at the numbers. I don't know exactly what he played in that second quarter, but probably played most of that second quarter. RJ Barrett played 12 minutes in the second quarter.
I mean, he played a combined in the second and fourth 24 minutes because he played the whole fourth quarter. And to be honest with you, I was a little frustrated with this, right? Because one, I really was pissed off about the Noel thing. Sam, I don't know sometimes what Thibs is looking at because I know I totally get it. We're watching from the TV. We're watching from the screen. We are not at the game, but Sim, come on, man.
Nerlens Noel was terrible tonight. There's no doubt about it. Nerlens was terrible tonight. And he should have taken him out in the third. He was terrible. He should have taken him out the game. Normally, he's good. Plays good defense in the screen and roll. Tonight, he just looked off. And it looked like he was going to fall down when he was trying to defend the screen and roll. He wasn't sure where to be. He wasn't sure, am I helping the ball handler? Do I need to get back over to Anthony Davis? He was confused out there, and he wasn't really defending the rim, right? He didn't have any blocks tonight. He wasn't defending the rim. Oh, wait a minute. That was first quarter. Hold on. Let me get to the entire game. I don't know. Maybe he had one block. Let's see. Nerlens Noel had one block tonight, but he wasn't really defending the rim. There was too much size out there on the floor. Anthony Davis pushing him around. LeBron James pushing him around. Should have been taken out. Should have been taken out. Yeah, he didn't deserve 23 minutes tonight.
No, he really didn't. There was one play, Sim, which just made me so mad because there was a play where, I don't know if you remember, he was sagging off Anthony Davis. So that forced Evan Fournier to come over. And then he left with Malik Monk wide open for a three. Like, it was just plays like that, man, where it just...
Well, that screen and roll gave the Knicks trouble all night long. Really, it did. It gave the Knicks trouble all night long.
And Jesus Christ, Sam, look, I get it. I know Evan Fournier's not a defender, but my God, that man went to a barbecue today. That man was getting cooked by Malik Monk, man. It wasn't just him.
let's be real. It wasn't just him. Just about anybody who stepped in front of him was getting cooked. It wasn't just Evan Fournier.
Hey, listen, there's a reason why when he first got drafted, people say he looked like he reminded people of J.R. Smith.
Yeah, it wasn't just him. You know what I mean?
And so to be honest, I really, really wish Phibbs would have gave RJ a little blow.
Well, he did in the first quarter.
Yeah, but I'm talking about later. I mean, I'm talking about later.
I know, but you couldn't. You couldn't. People keep saying it about certain guys and getting 49 minutes or whatever it is, and you're running the guys into the ground. But in the situation that the Knicks are in right now, and with this basketball game, and maybe after the next 4 games, you know what I'm saying? It's going to change because the Knicks are going to might be out of it. But he had to be out there on the floor. He had to be out there. And in the end, he still had enough energy to knock down that 3 to send it into overtime. So the endurance is there, I think.
No, but listen, I know it's there, but at the end of the day, 50 minutes and you go to LeBron James? That's honestly like 60 minutes.
I mean, but what are you gonna do?
No, you're right. I mean, again, and I'm not gonna cop out and say Cam, because right now we clearly know Cam's not playing until after the trade deadline. That's almost as clear as day right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to play. And here's the thing with Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens. Mitchell Robinson played almost 30 minutes tonight. The question is, does Mitchell Robinson have the endurance to go 37 minutes, 38, 40 minutes? That's the question, right? Can he go that many minutes? And Obi Toppin, wasn't really doing much tonight.
We're getting used to saying that, Sam. We're getting used to saying that now, man. I mean, Sam, it's just, man, listen. It's almost clear that they're going to make a trade because this team is just not it. There's almost really nothing positive besides RJ and Grimes. And I hope nobody kills Grimes tonight because, he's a kid, man. He's a rookie.
He's not expected to win the game for you. You know what I mean?
No.
He's not expected. No. It did hurt when he missed that put back layup.
Man, Sim, let me tell you something.
It hurt when he missed that, no doubt.
So there was 2 plays that pissed me off with Grimes. And I had to chuck it up to him being a rookie. It was the putback, and RJ gave him the sweet pass, and he was wide open. He bricked it. And, again, you can't – I'm not mad at Grimes because he's a rookie, but
it's going to happen. You know what play I was really mad about, that I was really, really mad about? And he did get fouled. He got pushed in the back. But on the fast break, and Kemba Walker was at the rim, and he passes it back to RJ. I need to look at it again and see if Russell Westbrook pushed him to the point where he was unable to get the layup up. Right? But they were on a fast break. It looked like Kemba should have just laid it up, but he passes it back to RJ. I know RJ was hot or whatever you were trying to do, but Russell Westbrook turns around and takes it from RJ because it was a bad pass. I mean, you're passing it directly behind you. Just go up with it. If you miss it, you live with it. But just go up with it. It was a bad pass, man. And obviously that play wasn't the entire turnaround, but
no,
I was just hot after that play. I'm like, what in the world are you thinking? You are a veteran in the NBA. You know better than that.
Yeah. I mean, Sam,
I was like, what?
Yeah, again, I'm going to keep saying that. I just really wish they would have never put Kemba back in the game. I wish they would have just benched Kemba the rest of the season. Like, I really wish Thibs would have stuck with his guns with that, man, because it's been just stupidly useless to have him in the games. It's just pointless. And, I mean, the way it's looking, they're probably going to release him. if they can't get a trade offer, they're probably just going to release him at the trade deadline so he can get a chance to get on the team. But Jesus, man, this is just. So I mean, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you even play D Rose if the season's already lost?
I think you leave it up to D Rose. I think you leave it up to D Rose because, people will say that, right? Don't play him, this, that, and the third. But if I'm Derrick Rose, I want to play because I want to keep my body in shape. You know what I'm saying? I need to keep some kind of rhythm because I want to come back and play next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be 30 minutes. You know what I mean? But I still want to get out there on the floor and play the basketball game, because I want to keep myself in rhythm. I want to keep myself in shape. He'll just be coming back from injury. And, if the Knicks are out of it by that time, this is the time. It's like a camp for him. You know what I mean? And I know he'll go into the summer and won't play, but you don't want to lose that much endurance. So, if you go into the summer, having not played, you're talking about not playing since December. That's a long time. So, yeah.
That almost be, that'd almost be if he didn't play, that'd be almost a year of basketball he didn't play.
Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? So I think you leave it up.
I do agree with you there. If his season's lost, I'll let him play 20 minutes and then, let the young kids like McBride and Cam with them dudes probably try to get a rhythm because, again, we've seen what RJ's doing. That's just you know what also pissed me off, Sim, too? Can RJ just get 40 points, man? Can he get the 40, man?
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I know what's gonna happen, Sim, but I wanted him to get that 40 tonight, man.
It's gonna happen. Listen, he had 28 shots, 28 shot attempts. He shot 46% from the field. He shot 40% from can he do better than that? I guess you can, but how much better you want him to do?
I know, Sim. I just
he could have made a couple more buckets, yeah, but
I wanted the 40. I wanted the 40 burger tonight. I did. I wanted the 40.
Career highs. It's just too bad that this career high didn't end in a victory for the New York Knicks.
This is the first one, Sim.
Huh?
This is the first time he scored 30 and we lost.
Yeah. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks lose to the Los Angeles Lakers, 122-115. Great game by R.J. Barrett. Great game by Julius Randle. They didn't get much help, though. They didn't get much help. Boy, Evan Fournier had 15 points, but, it was on inefficient shooting. Listen, on nights when you get good games from both R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle, the Knicks got to win. They got to win on those nights, man. They got to win. And this was such a critical game. And they came out and played like they knew it. Look, we all know the Knicks lost. Bad game in the second half. We're going to talk the spree, but when we come back, I want to focus on what the Knicks did well in that first half. I'm just going to speak as a coach right now. And as a coach, what I would do is say, let's look at this first half and figure out how we make our game play, the style of play that we had in the first half. How do we make that a habit for us? Because this is what I see that happen with the New York Knicks. People can disagree if they want to. Cool, I'm fine with that. In the first half, they were trying to play with pace, trying to play without thinking, making quick decisions. And that's what they did. That's exactly what they did. And they did it to a T, perfectly, in the first half. Then in the second half, the Los Angeles Lakers picked up the defense. Right? They started to crowd their space. They started to play physical. And the New York Knicks reverted back to a slower, pound the ball type of game. And here's why, in my opinion. That type of game is what the New York Knicks have done all season long, so they developed a habit. The fast-paced game that we've seen in the first half is not a habit, not yet. It's something that they tried to do when they were successful in the first half, and they've been doing it. We've seen spurts of it in the past couple of games. So they're trying to get that style, that kind of game, that kind of play. But it's not a habit yet. And any player and also any team, when the pressure picks up, their habits kick in. And that's what I think happened tonight. The Knicks trying to learn how to play one style of basketball, but they have habits of playing another style. And so when the pressure picks up, the habits kick in. Your body takes over. The habits kick in. If the Knicks want to play that style of basketball that they did in the first half, they're going to have to continue to work at it and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it until it becomes a habit. It's not there yet. It's not a habit. You know, and it's very hard to fight mentally for those habits not to kick in. Because right now, that slow type of pace, that is the habit of this team. That's how they play basketball. We'll see if they continue to try to play that faster pace. You know what I mean? Spree, what's popping, man?
Oh, man. You know, if Randle doesn't get the tee, we win in regulation.
Maybe.
That cost a point.
Uh-huh.
I could have used that point. I mean, I could point to 10 different things in this game. We could do that. You know, if Grimes doesn't foul Westbrook, I know he had his hand in the cookie jar, but Grimes is a good enough defender. He doesn't have to do that. You don't need a foul. It's Russell Westbrook. Lay off a little bit. That was not a smart play. He's got to learn from that. Mm-hmm. I mean, if Toppin makes one free throw, just make
we missed 10.
Make 1 3. I mean, did Grimes make any threes tonight?
No.
Nope.
No.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, our bench gave us nothing. I mean, IQ didn't really play. I mean, what was your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Listen, I don't know. Whatever. There was something out there that Tom Thibodeau didn't like. You know, maybe it has to do with, you know, conversations they're having in practice or whatever it is that he wants IQ to work on. And maybe he just didn't do it. And he's like, you know what? Let me get this guy out of the game. I'm going to show him what I'm talking about. You know, that's the only thing I can think of. I don't know.
Like, he makes mistakes, but like when we kind of, what you're talking about, kind of like reverted, we don't have anybody that can actually, other than RJ's penetration, Kemba's not getting in the paint. Kemba's done, man. I mean, you talk about that play, Sim, the one that drove you nuts. Yeah, he got pushed, but he could have finished that.
Yeah,
he could have definitely finished that ball.
Yeah.
Kemba's playing in the game, but his mind is not there, Sim.
No.
It's not there anymore.
No.
He's just a guy out there.
Tonight, Kemba and Westbrook were battling to see who's done the most. Which guard is done the most? Which guard is done? They were battling to see who's done the most.
They said they were like, yeah, you ain't gonna trade me. I'm gonna blow this thing by you. I'll make sure you can't trade me.
I mean, did Kemba even attempt anything at the rim tonight?
Yeah, he did. He got one layup at the rim.
I don't even remember that.
One layup at the rim.
Okay.
I remember because I said to myself, that's one of the quickest bursts from him I've seen all season.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm frustrated because Julius, that was the quickest. That was the best body language I saw in the first half. That's how he has to play. And Monk killed us. I mean, I'll be honest. I was thinking in the game, we need Reddish in the game. I mean, that play where they ran to Anthony Davis at the top of the key where he was kind of passing it on a curl to Monk killed us every time. It's frustrating, man. I mean, I'm not killing Evan for the play. I know people are going to kill him for the one where he tried to save it. Yeah, you don't do that. But in the heat of the battle there, he's trying to make something happen. I'm not killing Evan for that. Are you killing Evan?
I'm not killing him for that at all. But my only thing is, I'm not killing him and I'm not blaming him, right?
Okay.
My only thing is, why would you not, if you're going to try to save it, why wouldn't you try to throw it towards your rim? You know,
Yeah,
because
that's a
I
good
know
point.
in the heat of the moment, he might have thought that RJ hit the ball, right? Maybe he couldn't see
Right.
who actually tapped it. So he's like, I better save it. I understand that. But why wouldn't you try to throw it towards your rim? I mean, he just threw it.
I mean, for him to do that, he would have had to contorted his body the other way or thrown it behind his like a reverse pass or something like that. Like you see people in the NBA do that, but yeah, I think he could have thrown it. I don't know why. That's a good point. I don't understand it.
You know, because I mean,
But
you just,
frustrating.
I know it's in the heat of the moment, but you know, you gotta be kind of conscious. Like, I just know, okay, I can only speak for myself. I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for anybody else. Right. But, you know, when I still play in men's leagues and stuff. When I play, every time there's a stoppage in play, and I think about like 5 or 6 different situations that could happen and how am I going to respond to it. I literally do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And figure out, okay, what am I going to do if this happens? You know, because when you have a stoppage in play like that, you have the time to do it. And while everyone's lining up, you have the time to say, okay, what am I going to do? What if the ball goes here? What if it goes there? What if he gets it? What if he gets it? You know what I mean?
Fournier's not the mentally toughest player, smartest player. I'm not trying to hate on him. He's just not. That like he's not a heady player. He's just like a rhythm 3-point player. He can occasionally get in the paint, but he's not. He's made mistakes in the past, and so does Burks. Burks should not be inbounding the ball anymore. He's not a good
that
inbounder.
play. Okay, so that play in overtime between Burks and Randle, you know, that's another example of just poor execution, right? On both players' parts. One, you know, Randle's coming, you know, so close to the basketball. You know, how do you expect anyone to pass it in that tight space? You know what I mean? Okay, so now you came close to the basketball. You didn't get it. Get out the way. Get out of there. You know what I'm saying? Get out the way so that
it's on both of them.
you know,
It's on
so
both
that
of them.
right, so that Burks can see who to pass to. Move. You didn't get it. Get out of there. But then Burks, as the passer, still had enough time.
Yeah.
Don't throw it. Don't pass
He
it.
had enough time. Just because he's the only outlet there. Yes, it's on Julius to get out of the way, but Burks did not need to throw that ball. He had time.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. Also, too, man. That overtime. Yeah, I think there were like maybe I'm trying to remember some. Man, there was like 3 or 4 straight bad basketball start the overtime. Like they just looked a little confused in the beginning of the overtime. Because the play just looked they just didn't look like they know what they were doing in overtime. Honestly, so I don't know. It was just terrible at the end. Honestly,
I mean, it all to me comes back to just your point. Those I agree with you. Those 4 or 5 possessions early in overtime where we really didn't get anything. That we were running it through RJ and he was having to go through trees the whole night. And RJ had a great game. I got no issues with RJ. But again, there is no point guard on this team. We don't have a legitimate NBA point guard that can beat guys off the dribble, keep the defense honest, and in important moments in the game, get Julius the action we need. Like it's all RJ and Randle creating for everybody. That's it.
I mean, that's all we have. That's all we have.
But that goes back to your point, Sim. That goes back to your point of when you were saying about us playing like, you know, smooth and easy and not reverting back to our usual self. I think that plays a part of us not having a point guard. Us not having a real point guard. I mean, I'm talking about a real point guard. I'm not talking about a scoring point guard. I think if we had a real point guard that, you know, was more into, you know, setting up, getting guys in, I think a lot of our issues would be solved. Again, not all of them, but a lot of our issues would be solved.
No, you're right. It definitely does. It goes back to, you know, not having that floor general out there. And when you have that floor general out there, so, you know, I mentioned that point about habits, and a team is going to go back to their habits under pressure, right? When you have a floor general out there, they help to establish the team's habits in the beginning of the season. You know what I mean? and you establish some habits, and then now you have these strong habits so that when the game, when the pressure picks up, you fall back on strong habits, not poor habits. And the Knicks fell back on the poor habits tonight.
Sim, that's why I blame Kemba. Like, of all the people, and there were so many mistakes and so many things, like, it's not just one guy. But, like, honestly, I was expecting more from a guy like Kemba in this game. When palms got sweaty, could Kemba have calmed it down for me a little bit? Could Kemba have made that layup? I don't know what the score was at that point, but they got close in it to keep the defense a little bit honest, to keep Kemba, to me, I was disappointed in what he did out there. Like, I understand he's trying to set people up. I understand it's not, like, but he does not do the necessary things that I think calm it down.
No.
I'm sorry.
I mean, one of the things is I love his personality as someone to hang out with, right? But he doesn't have that kind of personality on the basketball court, to be that guy. So, but I want to do this, though. I want to do this because we can go all night long about how terrible the Knicks played in the second half, But again, as a coach, I would look at this first half, after. Well, I go by the rule of giving compliments first, and then hitting them with the stuff. You know what I mean? So I would talk about the first half, what we did well, and what we, how we want to take that and extend it so that we can do it throughout a game. And then I would hit them with the bad stuff. Here's what we did wrong in the second half. This is what we got to fix, blah, 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 blah. But then I would go back and talk about how do we package this first half? How do we package it and do it again and duplicate it? And then this time extend that play into the third quarter. How do we do that? How do we do it under pressure? Right? That's what I would talk about. So I want to talk to you and the panel about the first half, what you saw, what you liked from the first half.
So I'll just say this really quick. I say the first half. One last thing I want to say. I'm proud of Mitch for not fouling LeBron on the last play because I thought Mitch would foul him. I just want to say that. I'm proud of you, Mitch. I was going to jump out my window if you fouled LeBron there. But good job. Good contest. But first half, what I'm saying to them, I mean, I just thought we played, like, to your point, Sim. You said it. I mean, the pace was great. Julius was quick. I thought Julius's body language was good. He was getting downhill. He was getting to his spots. He just got rid of it. And he was an animal on the glass too. He was just firing. Like, he just looked like a different player. So it starts with Julius for me, and then I also just thought I thought the defense was good. I mean, they missed shots, but the pace, I would say the pace and the ball movement was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's really probably all it comes down to is the pace and the ball movement. It does become harder to do. It's hard
for Randle to do it the whole game. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's why I always go back to Julius is not as good as Julius played, and we've seen this was the Julius from last year for a half, Sim. Right. I'm just saying, like, it's hard for Julius to do that the whole game because, like you said, they're going to amp the pressure up, and I don't care what anybody says. Kemba's not. He's not that guy. He's just not.
Yeah,
that's where I go back to the point guard thing.
Yeah, no doubt. Spree, appreciate your time, man.
All right. So thank you.
Spree.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, brother. You know what you're going to do? You're going to kick back. You're going to watch some March Madness, and you're going to look at our future point guards in March Madness, brother. Don't you stretch it no more.
Hey, man.
I don't want you to get hurt anymore, Spree. I don't want you to get hurt.
Hey, Sim, I'm out in Virginia, so maybe one of these Wizards-Knicks games will link up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
let's do it, Spree.
Later.
Oh, man. I mean, as far as that first half, I think Spree hit it on the head right there. It really came down to those quick decision making. You know what I mean? Not thinking about where to pass the ball, just passing it to who's open, making the easy pass, not making the difficult pass. Randle not waiting for the defense to come to him, like fully commit, but like, okay, I got it. I see someone took a step towards me. Bam, I'm going to just get it to Fournier. He's right here, right? Because what Randle would do a lot is try to create the person open, make the person come open by having the defense really commit hard. He didn't do that tonight in the first half. He didn't really, in the they didn't double team him as much, right? So, they would have Trevor Ariza on him, and he was trying to go one-on-one a couple times in the beginning of that third quarter with Trevor Ariza. But in that first half, it was like, okay, I got the ball. There's nothing here. Bam. And even if that pass was just a quick pass to the wing or a quick pass to somebody for three, but the quicker he moves, the more people get open, right? Because the opposing team is afraid that he's going to strike because he moves fast and he can move quick and he can get to the basket at the blink of an eye. So those quick decisions and easy passes meant the world to everything. Of course, it doesn't hurt that the Knicks started off with 3 straight threes, blazing from the 3-point line. You know what I mean? And it does come back down to, when you look at the second half, if the Knicks aren't hitting threes, what do they go to now? It really does go back to that. But in the first half, it was more than just hitting threes, though. You know what I mean? It was the snap of the ball and the quick decision making. And we got to figure out, the Knicks got to figure out how to duplicate it. Nate, what's going on, man?
How y'all doing tonight? What's up, Bubba?
I mean, we kind of hot. We kind of mad because the Knicks.
Oh, I know, man. I can imagine Nick Land is not very happy right now. I'll say this, that the two halves were funny because the first half is what the Knicks should have been this season from last season. And the second half is exactly what the Knicks are this year. And it's just amazing. I don't know how a team can go playing so well to just playing like straight garbage. They're lucky that they were in this game in the second half because they scored 13 points. And the Lakers in the first half were just lolling on defense. They were not even giving effort. And I think Vogel said something to him at halftime because in the second half they played inspired. The defense was more crisp, and the Knicks just imploded like they always do, And it's just so frustrating with this team because they could be so good, but yet they get in their own way. The Evan Fournier play, you got to be smart in that, man. That's a cardinal sin in basketball. You never throw it the other way when you're trying to make a play. And then on top of that, the inbounds with with Julius and Burks, that was a mess, man. We've seen that before. Players colliding into each other when they're trying to set up a play and all that.
Well, it was just straight up poor spacing. Big Bubba, can you stay in the screen for us, man? We're trying to make this thing look symmetrical. Make it look good. Let me read a couple of super chats here.
Go ahead.
All right, because I think this is a good question right here. Mr. Jones, Korean Jones, he said, just a learning curve. We have a foundation and our future is bright. We fight. Just have to finish the game. We only need a few changes to the roster. So that's my question about that offense. All right, let me finish these super chats, and then I'll get to my question about that offense in that first half. Lewis Wilkinson said, we begin in the third quarter, and within 5 minutes into the game, we go away from passing the ball and play ISO ball. Why? My thought is that we just reverted back to bad habits when the defense picked up. Lewis, that's my thought. Then he said, Tibbs plays IQ. He gave nothing. Grimes was off tonight, and you still got Cam on the bench. Why? Mark Jackson should be coaching. Well, I ain't going to talk about Mark Jackson.
First of all, Sim, that's another dude that pissed me off all night tonight, man. Mark Jackson pissed me off.
Yeah, he was on the Knicks a lot in the game. A lot.
Yeah,
he said they're a bad team. That's what he said, right? And then Van Gundy said something like,
he's not lying about that. It's 5 games below 500. So, we're not a good team. You know what I mean?
Nah, but he was acting like a homer tonight. I was like, dang, bro, you acting like you never played for us.
But going back to what Korean Jones said, he said just a learning curve. All right. Do you look at what the Knicks did in the first half and say that's the potential? Now we just got to get them to do it for longer periods of time, for the third quarter, during the fourth quarter. They have that potential to do it. And do you look at it and say, obviously we know, the Knicks got to come out and get somebody else in. But do you look at it and say, we get the right guard in here, we might let this marinate, see if we can establish this type of offense that is who we are. You know what I mean? Do you take that and say this is what it could be, and I want to try to make it happen? Go ahead, Nate.
Yes, I do, because it's amazing how they scored. I think they scored 71 points in the first half, right?
71. Is that right? 71.
Okay, 71. That was the highest of the season. And we have no point guard. I mean, Kimbo might as well just been on the bench or a floating head. He was nothing for us tonight. And I don't like Alex Burks playing point guard. And IQ decided not to show up tonight. We have no point guard on this team, and Derrick Rose is sitting on the bench. I forgot about that. And we put up 71 points. Absolutely. If we could get a point guard that is good, that is able to penetrate, that is able to have a high IQ and get players involved, absolutely, this team can definitely gel with what they have. The problem is that you're going to have to give up something big to get a good point guard like that. Yeah, it's just that simple.
Look, in the first half, Kemba was 5 points, 3 assists, 2 for 4 from the field, 1 for 3 from the three-point line. If you can find a way to get him to duplicate that, the Knicks probably look better in the second half. But, obviously he didn't. Isaiah, do you look at that and say, this is what they could be offensively? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try to get a guard in here and see if we can make this happen, without making any big shakeups to the lineup. Do you look at that and say that? Or do you say the second half is who this team is? That was just, it just happened.
So.
Because they've been working on trying to play like this. They have. Yeah. They've been trying.
So I think it's, to be honest with you, I think it's a mixture of both. And when I say that, to me, that this team has the potential to score about 50 to 60 points in a game if they move the ball, if they play selfishly, if they start thinking on the court. There's a lot of things that we can do without a point guard that we have shown the ability to do this season, but we just haven't put it together. Now, saying that, granted, the second half is what this team has been for most of the season. That's just how it is. Mm-hmm. This season, this is how they've been. Again, also, but we got to also put a factor that this is a bad Lakers team too. This is a bad Lakers team.
I mean, it is, but even for stretches against Memphis, you seen them play.
No, yeah, I think we played good, but to me, this is when you. But you said it earlier. When you have these bad habits in the beginning of the season, it is natural to revert back. That's right. But that's
that's what I'm saying. It's natural to revert back. But do you try to continue to, because it's harder to break a habit and build a new habit than it is to just build a habit. Yeah. Right. So now they've got to go through breaking the old habits, trying to build new habits, so that these good habits are what the team falls back on during times of pressure. Do you try to give it time to marinate to see if that style of play can become the habit? Because if you're developing that style of play, it's not all going to happen at once, right? You're going to play, you're going to do it, then you're not, then you're going to do it, then you're not. So the hope is that you do it for longer and longer and longer stretches.
So I'll be real with you, Sam, that I don't think a lot of people are going to like this, is that, look, after the trade deadline, after you move a couple of these pieces that just don't have no business on the team, and I'm talking about players like Kemba, Alex Burks, Evan Fournier can stay. I think Evan Fournier shows a lot of potential that he can be part of this team. If you move those kind of pieces, right? You move those and you get if you have a chance to get a De'Aaron Fox this season, or if you get a point guard, whatever, during the draft, whatever you want to choose to do, however, I would say that the rest of these games, because this season, I mean, look, I don't know if people are going to like to hear this, but just talk the season up. This season is not, we're not going anywhere. We're really, really not. I mean, this next couple of stretches, we're not beating Golden State or we're not beating the Nuggets. So out of that, we have one chance to beat a team, and that's the Utah Jazz, and we barely play good there. And we don't even have what's my man name that used to kill the Jazz? Austin Rivers. We don't even have Austin Rivers on the team no more.
Yeah.
Austin Rivers used to just play. Austin Rivers played the Jazz good, but listen, if I'm them, look. And I know Thibs don't like to lose. I know Thibs isn't trying to tank. He's just not that kind of guy. But you do use the rest of this season to see what you got and see these players, because look, this season can prepare you for next season a little earlier than most teams, so that you guys can be in more rhythm and everything before you, if you don't have a point guard, you draft a point guard, you can implement them into your system going into next season. You guys can get a head start on a new team.
All right.
Use the rest of this season like I don't want to say a training camp, but working on these bad habits to get the new habits in.
I agree with you, Isaiah, but you know Tibbs ain't gonna do that.
Well,
I
look,
mean, at some point it's gonna be like, it's done. You know what I mean? Let me get to this phone call here. Caller, you live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Hey, fellas, Tim, the rest of the crew. This is Trey, originally from Brooklyn, New York. I live in the Baltimore area now. I'm a first-time caller. Listen to the show quite a bit after Knicks games, so I really appreciate the platform that you guys have laid out, night in and night out after these Knicks games. But just to get to the night's game, I thought the team came out on fire. RJ Barrett, I'm so proud of him as a player. I really think he's improved his game from last season going into this season. So I love the fact that he asserted himself in the first half and was able to get players involved. And, Julius had a nice first half as well with 20 points. Is it me, or does it seem like every time this season I watch the Knicks early, it seems like they've been getting a lot of these slow starts? It seems like Evan Fournier is the one guy that, gets his first 6-9 points, to start these games off. And then the rest of the team is just, coming out sluggish. I mean, they did it the other night against the Grizz, and they did it a few nights ago, last week. It just seems like this team starts off slow, and then they kind of start to pick themselves up. We saw that differently tonight against the Lakers, and that first half is what I would love to see more of. And, of course, obviously, 13 points in the third quarter is not going to do it. I thought that's where they lost his basketball game tonight. And then with the mistakes down the stretch, I mean, you're talking about Burks with the out-of-bounds pass. That was messy. You talk about Fournier, which I really don't blame Fournier for that. I think it was just him trying to make something happen, and he just happened to put it in the hands of LeBron streaking down the court. And, that always is an easy 2 points for LeBron anytime you get him out in open space. So,
right.
So that's kind of where I'm at as far as like the season's concerned. I agree with you guys. I think it's to the point where let the kids play, man. I'm so tired of the Kemba experiment. I know it was a good story with him coming back home, but it just hasn't worked out. It's not reflective in the standings. And, what started out so great, this season is now just, is really over. We're only a week away before the All-Star break, and I think we're at a point where it's just you just got to let these kids play and, get OB minutes, get IQ minutes, get these rookies, Sims, my guy Grimes, get these guys on the court. Get Cam Reddish on the court. Like, what the hell is going on with that?
Yeah, look, the trade deadline is February 10th. We got 4 days to the trade deadline. It's now February 6th. I think, within the next 3 games, after we get past this trade deadline, you'll see Cam Reddish on the floor. I believe Kemba's probably going to end up getting waived. I think right now the Knicks are trying to figure out some kind of trade package with Kemba Walker, so he's still out there playing. You know,
Right.
they're open to moving Alec Burks, but they're not going to move him just to open up a roster spot. So, you know, they want to include some kind of package and make sure that they're getting something back, some kind of return, something that's going to help them probably in the future. You know what I mean? But I do believe between Kemba and Alec, if Kemba's gone, that means Alec Burks. Let's say Kemba's gone and Alec Burks isn't. That means Alec Burks is going to move into the starting lineup, and then Cam Reddish should have some rotation minutes in the bench. Now, when Derrick Rose come back, you still have to figure that out.
So, what do you think? Because I'm hearing a lot of stuff with De'Aaron Fox. I'm hearing that that's a possible trade target, and you obviously would have to put Julius Randle, Alec Burks, maybe Evan Fournier in a deal to Sacramento to get De'Aaron Fox. How much stock is there in that?
You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Knicks are probably interested in De'Aaron Fox. I don't think they're interested in moving Julius Randle for him, though. That's just my opinion.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that their thought with De'Aaron Fox is I want to put De'Aaron Fox and Randle and R.J. Barrett together.
Right.
As a trio. I think that's what they would probably be thinking. But with the amount of money that De'Aaron Fox makes, he makes $28 million this year. If anything, you can see where Julius Randle going to Sacramento, De'Aaron Fox coming to the Knicks makes sense because they need a power forward to go with Tyrese Halliburton and Davion Mitchell. Right? And then you got Harrison Barnes over there. And let me tell you something. Tyrese Halliburton, Davion Mitchell, Julius Randle, Harrison Barnes. Then they got the big guy in the middle, right? Like, that's intriguing. That might be intriguing for them, to be honest with you.
They might like that, yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if you're not putting Julius Randle in that package, then you're obviously talking about a possible, giving up a first plus players?
Well, if you're not putting Julius Randle in that package, you're talking about giving up at least Evan Fournier, right? Because that's $18 million. And then you got to find another $10 million. So you might also be talking about Obi because they want a power forward.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. I'm not sure if I want to give up Obi right now.
You know, so you know, if you're keeping Julius Randle, then you might be talking about Evan Fournier, Obi. I don't know if they would even have interest in Evan Fournier. If they did, it would be because his contract is lower or less amount of years than De'Aaron Fox. So, you know, they'd be saving some salary that they can use elsewhere.
They might not want to pay him for what he does either.
You know,
I mean,
I don't know.
The money might not fit what he's good at, but I mean, he can give him something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is De'Aaron Fox left-handed or right-handed?
I think he's left-handed.
Left-handed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. That would be the second one will be a bad trade because you just can't have three left-handed. You can't have three left-handed players in the starting lineup.
Why? I mean, how many teams have three right-handed players in the starting lineup? What's the matter?
I know, but I don't know. It is weird. Three left-handed people like Randle, Fox, and RJ.
Who cares? De'Aaron Fox can go left and right. What's the matter? They're left-handed and right.
Yeah. I ain't gonna hold y'all, but I think the whole left-handed thing gets a little overblown. I mean, I hear guys on TV every night talking about these guys go left too much. Well, it's their dominant hand. What do you expect? I mean, you want them to go right more, but that's not what they're good at.
Stop listening to Stephen A. Smith.
And there's plenty of guys in the league that go right to their dominant hand all the time. But, hey, my man, I appreciate your time. Thank you for your call, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of days, man. Appreciate it.
Peace.
I want to listen to Tom Thibodeau. I want to hear what Tom Thibodeau has to say about this game here. My man Marvin is on the line. Marvin, I promise I'm going to get to you, man. Keep calling in, but I want to hear Tom Thibodeau and his thoughts on tonight's game. I can pretty much predict what he's going to say, but, we'll go ahead and listen to Tom anyway. All right, this is Tom Thibodeau, ladies and gentlemen.
Happened out there. Obviously, you guys had a great first quarter. Third quarter was bad. What do you just make of the entire game?
Yeah, I like the start of the game. We probably didn't close out the second quarter as well as we would have liked. And then the third quarter was problematic. So then we had a good fight down the stretch and didn't get it done.
You take them to overtime, LeBron's back. I mean, when you sum it up, I mean, is it, I know you don't like moral victories, but is anything to take where you...
Well, I mean, there's always good and bad in every game, so my concern is, we got to get it done. So, we have to improve. Like, our defense didn't hold up, and our transition, the ball in the paint, the finish, the rebounding, 31-13, third quarter. It's a problem.
What happened? I mean, only 4 points in overtime. What happened to the offense there?
I want to look at the film, but, I thought we had a really great first half because we got stops. And it got us in transition, and we got some easy scores, and we shared the ball, and that part was really good. Then, we got bogged down in the third quarter, and we missed some shots, and we let that take away from other parts of the game, and you can't do that.
I mean, you talked the whole time about playing a complete game, 48 minutes, 53 minutes here. When you see what they did at the start, the fire they were playing with, I think 8 out of 9 first shots, 8 assists on them. Where do you see that not coming out in the third quarter like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not going to do it for 48 minutes. You score at that pace, but you want to make sure you're taking the right shots. And I like the way we played, and it started with the defense and then getting the ball up the floor quickly, and then once we were in the half court, just continuing to move it quickly. And I thought multiple touches for people. Ball got into the paint, there was a collapse, there was a kick out, there was the extra pass, all the things that you need to have good offense, so there was good rhythm, and that part was important. And, like I said, there were a lot of times where we had good initial defense, and then, we didn't finish it off. There wasn't a second, third, fourth effort, and to be, a great defensive team, you have to do that, particularly when you're looking at a team that has, you're going against LeBron, you're going against Davis. Monk had a big game. Westbrook's going to be in the paint. It puts a lot of pressure on you. Everyone's got to be tied together. So.
I mean, RJ, he's probably just 21 years old in national TV in this building. He gets his career high, hits the big three. I mean, was it an impressive thing to see?
Well, I just think in general, like the way he's played, he's really. The last 5 or 6 weeks is really, playing well, and I think there's still a lot of room for growth for him. But it's, when he's attacking and he's getting downhill and he's shooting the ball, and he had a tough assignment defensively, and so he's taking on the challenge, and it takes a lot out of you to guard the way he has to guard, and then, to exert what he has to exert offensively. But that's what he's capable of. And so continue to work. There's obviously things he can do better. And we don't want him to be satisfied. We want him to continue to work.
What do you think of the job he did defensively against LeBron?
Some good, and the thing that you like about RJ is his mindset, because he's not an overly emotional guy. So, there's a lot of times you can defend LeBron great, and he still has the ability to raise up and make a shot. He made one from nearly half court, and he defended him well on the play. But that's part of it. But to come back, and you got to do it again and again and again. And with a guy like that, you want to make him work. And sometimes it's he still can make, but I think RJ's growing quite a bit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to it so that you can get all the post-game interviews and other content that they have on the page. Anything, Nate, that you heard there from Tibbs?
Yeah, Sim, I was kind of surprised that he said that we got stopped in the first half is really why we got out to that, why it really was the way it was. I disagree because when I watched that game, I think the Knicks just made more shots than the Lakers did. The Lakers had a lot of wide open shots and missed them. And I thought at times the Knicks defense was very bad in the first half. I just thought the Knicks were just on fire from three, and they were just getting everything that was going in the basket. The Lakers got their shots, but they missed a lot of open shots too. So I was kind of surprised he said that because I thought the defense was pretty porous most of the game, especially in the interior. Like LeBron and Stanley Johnson were getting whatever they wanted inside. But I just thought the Knicks were really hot early in the first half. Mm-hmm. And in the second half, they cooled off tremendously, and the Lakers defense really picked up.
Yeah, that defense picked up big time, in that second half from the Lakers. I would need to go back and look at it to really see that first half and what the Knicks looked like, because I'm not going to lie to you, I was excited about the way that they were playing offensively.
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, offense,
what was going on the defensive
Absolutely.
side.
Right.
But I thought they got their hands on a lot of balls.
Early in the first couple of minutes they did. They did get some steals.
A lot of deflections out there, playing the passing lanes. When they did get rebounds or get a steal, they'd get out on the break and run. And go fast. Second half, I think the Lakers also did a better job taking care of the basketball. Did a better job on the glass as well, so that the Knicks couldn't get out and run.
Right.
Savvy, I'm gonna get to you in a minute. Let's hear from Julius Randle, and then I'm gonna come to you, man. I want to know what you're thinking about this game. This is Julius Randle on tonight's game, ladies and gentlemen. See what hear what's on his mind.
With you guys, that the start first quarter was not only the highest scoring, but probably as well as you guys have played as a group this year. Just kind of what did you see from there? What didn't last?
It's playing fast. I think that was just it. Fast, quick decisions, ball movement, 19 points in transition in the first half. Probably the only thing we had 19 points all year in transition, so that was really the story.
What happened in overtime? You guys only had 4 points.
We had some good looks.
Was that?
We had good looks. I think we had good looks. In overtime, just didn't make them.
Were you in pain? How were you feeling? You took that spill?
Oh, yeah, I was fine. It was nothing. Yeah, it was nothing. It was fine. Just a little nick.
What do you take out of this? The way you guys played early, forcing overtime with a little run there at the end?
I just think if we play fast how we did, compete like we did, especially in the first half, I feel like we can win and beat anybody. It's just about sustaining that. Too many mistakes in our half-court defense in the second half. And I'll take the blame for that. But, we just got to be better, clean up little mistakes and just try to build.
Julius, I know it didn't end the way that you guys wanted it to, but for you and RJ to both kind of get going on the same night on the road as you're embarking on this 5-game road trip, is that something that you feel like is a snowball effect?
Yeah, I think we should be able to build off of that. I think the bigger thing was, like I was saying before, just our pace of play. We've been trying to adjust all year, me specifically, how teams are guarding me, how teams are guarding RJ, and I think the bigger thing is just trying to make the game easier, get out, get some points in transition, and just play faster.
You guys have been talking about that all season long. Is that really just about getting stops?
I mean, it starts with getting stops and getting in transition. When you're taking the ball out of bounds and going against a set defense, obviously it's harder to play faster. But even in our half-court offense, how we're moving the ball, sprinting to screens or coming off of pin downs with speed and just playing with a certain pace. I feel like we can build off of that.
What would you make of RJ, what he was able to do there at the end of regulation?
It's tough, man. Step up willing to take the shot and knock it down. That's who he is. He's made for big moments like that.
You seen something for him also taking on an assignment guarding LeBron?
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's willing to take that challenge, like I said, it tells you what they're about. It's not an easy task, especially what that man is doing at 37 years old. It's crazy. So he took the challenge on both ends of the floor, and he was really good today.
All right. So could you see some positives coming out of tonight despite losing?
Yeah.
To take a team like this in overtime, in what way do you feel like this could be?
Like I said, just how we competed in the first half, defensively, getting off. We haven't been getting off to great starts all year, inconsistently. So we can build off of that. We just got to be able to sustain it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Julius Randle, a little bit more candid than he's
More
been,
positive.
right? Talking about, his ability to make some adjustments. Just a little bit more candid in this interview than he's been lately. Hopefully it's a sign of his, mental turning around, but we need it to be a sign of the New York Knicks turning around, man, because they're getting ready to embark on this 3-game, the remainder of this road trip. The Utah Jazz, the Denver Nuggets, and the Golden State Warriors. 3 of the toughest games that you can play in a row. 3 of the toughest games you can play in a row. Big Savvy, what's up with you, brother? How you feeling, man?
Doing well, fam. Wish for a different outcome to this game. I feel like beating a team like the Lakers could have been a real dope way to proceed about this road trip. Especially considering the way that we lost to Memphis. Salute to the chat. Salute to the panel. Nate, I see you rocking the Aggies hat. You know what I'm saying? Just don't get Aggie at me. You know what I mean? All right. That's all I want to say about that one. More. All right. No, I'm kidding. But I want to say something positive about this game. I've been having the suspicion lately that we're not going to get as much done by the trade deadline as we hope, and it gives me faith that we can still see the team that we hoped we were going to get this year somewhere in there, somewhere within this team, within this roster, maybe with the exception of a guy like Kemba Walker most nights. With the exception of a few pieces, we see a team that can still find itself competing against what we would assume to be superior teams. And when we look at how we played in the first half and how we played in the second half, even though I was only able to steal glimpses here and there because I was at work during the first half and I was only free and off of work during the fourth quarter, I was able to see why we were able to get points in transition. I was able to see why we were able to stay in competition. There was a point where I had to walk to my car in the parking garage and I checked the score and we were still within 3 points and I was impressed. And I was like, first of all, we play better on the road typically and it's showing that we can still pull that out. But I feel like if we just make some minute adjustments, maybe accomplish a little bit of what we want to accomplish by the trade deadline, if it's the right move, we can unlock the potential that sits in this roster unable to free itself. When we went down the stretch in the fourth quarter, it just looked like we were starting to find ourselves again too late, and we couldn't stay within striking distance. Luckily, Fournier hit a big 3 down the stretch, brought us to within, tying range, and then RJ came with that clutch one to send it to overtime. But what jumped out at me, above all else, was that we were really, really getting them whistles tonight, like to go around too. And maybe if we managed that better, we would have come out with the win tonight. But I just, this loss doesn't make me that mad. Normally, when it's a close game and we lose, I get upset. But it's the Lakers, man. Like, they got LeBron over there.
But they're not that
But
good.
we're up 21, man.
And the Lakers are, the Lakers are having their own chemistry issues. You know what I mean? They're having their own chemistry issues. But listen, if the Knicks take care of their free throws, we've been doing this all season long. They missed 10 free throws. They take care of their free throws. It's a different game. I see someone say, if Julius Randle didn't get that tech, the Knicks win by 1. Well, if one of these players, including Julius Randle, hits a free throw, maybe they win by 1. I mean,
exactly.
The type of team the Knicks are, they don't have a big margin of error, and they have to do a lot of things right to win the game. And this year it's just not happening. But man, you're up by 21 points. All you got to do is play even the rest of the way.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Nobody expected them to score another 71 points in the second half. We all knew that wasn't going to happen. You know what I mean?
That's not these Knicks.
Score 50. You know what I mean?
I have a question for you. I have a question for you because I said this before the Grizzlies game, right? I was like, I see Kemba as a quick pull. And then I was watching and he wasn't a quick pull. And we lost.
Yeah, well, I think he. Well, in the second half, he was a quick pull. I think he was a quick pull in the second half. I don't know if he was a quick pull in the first half. Right, Kemba Walker in the second half only played 7 minutes and 58 seconds. So he was probably, stayed in that third quarter a little longer than you would want him to, right? He played 7 minutes and 50. All of his minutes in the second half came in the third quarter. So he probably played in there a little bit longer than you wanted to, especially with Malik Monk going off.
When we know that there's somebody in matching up against him that is a reliable threat to cook that man, I don't want to go with him. I'm sorry. And I hear y'all saying, like at a certain point where we're going to get to a point where we, like the caller said, just play the kids. But to me, that sounds like quitter talk to an extent. It sounds like we're going to pack it in at some point and just let whatever happens. And I kind of want to go down swinging. But if we do a version of that, the only people that I would want to see would be at the 5 and the 1. I want to see a little bit more Deuce, and I want to see Jericho Sims actually appear. Because we have some decisions to make, and if we wind up keeping Mitch and moving Nerlens, I want to see if Jericho can become some of what we need him to be.
Okay.
Before we go into the offseason.
I do want to see some of what Jericho is, but I'm going to tell you this: with the way that I see things right now, Mitchell Robinson, with the way he's playing basketball, he's going to be on this team next season.
I want to keep that man.
Nerlens Noel. It's been a terrible season. The injuries, you look at him tonight, he wasn't moving like he was healthy, in my opinion. He wasn't moving like he was healthy. I looked at him run up the floor one time. He looked like an old man. I'm looking at him like, what is happening right now?
He probably is an old man, Sim.
Sim.
I was like, what is happening? Why is
it hurts me as a Zoe? It hurts me as a Zoe, Sim, to watch that. And it hurts me as a Zoe to say that I think he's got to go because by any means necessary, I think we should keep Mitch. By any means necessary. And anybody who says different just is not right 80% of the time.
That was a nice shot. I like that. That was a nice shot. But with that being said, you keeping Mitch, Jericho Sims, I think you need a stretch 5 in there somewhere. I do. I think you need a stretch 5. I don't care if he's a starter or not, but I think you need a stretch 5 on the team.
Go be the stretch 5.
He's not tall.
You need a long stretch 5.
Yeah, and plus OB shooting. I mean,
you need a long stretch 5 in my opinion. Listen, OB is if you want to put him there, okay. If he starts knocking down the three, I get what you're saying. And I know he can jump high, but you still need that length because that length, it adds. Listen, when he's defending in his screen and roll, jumping high ain't going to do nothing. You need that length to help you defend in the screen and roll.
And Sim, to be honest with you, the only way I'll get an undersized center, you better have the positioning of Zebo.
Yeah, no doubt. Right. Exactly. No doubt.
Because Zebo was only, 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah, but he was
that man knew how to position himself.
Though.
Yeah,
Zebo's a starter, bro. Maybe he was a factor at the end.
So that's
but I'm not about.
That's where with Jericho sends him like, I want to see it. But I'm like, I don't know where, how it works with this team. If you can't find a stretch five and you bring him in, you got to rock with him. I dig it. I get it. If the Knicks move on from Nerlens Noel, I think so it's two things. I think Tom Thibodeau wants to have a defensive center, but you also need a guy that can shoot threes. Where do you find that player who can play defense but also shoot some threes and spread the floor for you?
Draft.
Yeah, but you got to be real. You got to be realistic though, Nate. If you're talking about a coach that Tom Thibodeau, and if you think he's going to get fired, then maybe a new coach. But we're talking about Tom Thibodeau.
Right.
We drafted Jericho Sims, and he could jump out the gym, and he's not playing. So
the problem is when you want to get a stretch four, you also wanted a guy that can block shots too. Not only to spread the court, but also can protect the rim because Tibbs is very big on rim protectors. And that's, I think, one of the big reasons why Noel was
Where do you find this guy? Where do you find this guy that can protect the rim but also shoot threes?
They don't grow on trees, so I don't know. Those
the way you describe
him,
and Nate, the person that you're describing sounds like a top 10 pick.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a top 10 pick.
No, I know Sam, but you're talking about a guy. The way you're talking.
It's very unique to have a stretch five that can defend the rim and shoot the ball at a high clip. Those are very hard to find. KP was like a perfect example. A guy who could block it.
We don't say that name.
Whatever.
He
could block it at the rim and he could shoot the shot. But those are hard to find.
But what I'm saying, it doesn't have to be a guy that's. You think it's going to be an all-star, superstar, just someone who can block some shots and knock down a three if he's open or knock down the mid-range if he's open. But I don't know where you find that guy.
Yeah.
In the league right now, I don't know.
It's like a unicorn.
You know what I mean? So that's going to be a tough task. But I want to see what Cam Reddish can bring, though. I really do.
Yes. Me too. Yes.
I want to see what Cam Reddish can bring. I'm excited about his potential to play defense, his potential to break down the defense, and his potential to play make. And I'm not saying that we need to use him as a point guard. I'm just saying his potential to play make from that wing position. I'm excited to see what it brings. And then, of course, more youthfulness out there on the floor. But you're going to give up some of the experience for youthfulness. But if you get the right if you get the right mix of players, it's okay. You know what I mean? But I am excited to see what Cam can bring. So when we're talking about the young guys getting out there on the floor and playing, I want to see him out there. I want to see what he can do. I want to see him, more than just, playing in garbage time against, whoever. I want to see him playing in meaningful games against top competition. And listen, we know he can produce because he was producing in Atlanta when he had the chance to play. You know what I mean?
Hey, Sam, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. Let's say, just for the sake of whatever, we don't make any moves at the trade deadline. Do you still think Cam Reddish is going to play?
I do, because I think guys will
at
get
whose
waived.
Expense?
I think guys will get waived.
Okay.
I think Kemba gets waived. If the Knicks can't make a move at the trade deadline, I think he's waived. Does Burks get waived? I don't think so. I don't think Burks gets waived, but I think Kemba does. Burke goes into that starting unit, and then Cam Reddish will have his spot until D. Rose comes back.
And then what?
Then we're at it all over again. We're at it all over again. But you know what? You know what, though? Emmanuel quickly lost some minutes tonight. I don't know what that's all about, but I'll be watching that. See what that's about. Let me get to this phone call here. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Yes, it's Mike from North Carolina.
What's going on, Mike?
Here's something I was not necessarily observing, but I kind of wonder. You think the Knicks were playing to the national audience, considering the energy they had? And, of course, we all know about the first half, over 70 points. That was a shock.
Mm-hmm. You know, were they playing to the national? I mean, it could be, that they were playing, they obviously, you know that it's on national television. You're playing the Lakers. You're in L.A., LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of energy in the building. You know what I mean?
Stars are out.
A lot of energy in the building. Let's see if they can they go to Utah, right? Much less energy in the building. Much less of a spotlight. Let's see if they can bring the same energy to start the game.
To that point, Sim, because after tonight's game, I really am starting to wonder about the psyche of these guys, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
After tonight's effort, as I think as good as it was, you think they'll be up for Utah? Will we see the Knicks we've seen before this Laker game?
So that again, you said, will you see what?
You think we'll see, before this Laker game, you think we'll see the same Knicks we've seen before? Again, I'm thinking about their psyche, their mindset after tonight's loss.
Right. I'm hoping that their mindset is, you see what we did in the first half? If we do that consistently, we can be really, really good on the offensive side of the floor, right? That's what I'm hoping the mindset is. But you never can tell because this team they're up and down with the way that they approach the game. You know what I mean? Some nights they come out and they're flat. Then you got nights when they come out the way that they did in the first half. So it's hard to say. I'll say this. The Los Angeles Lakers are a team that's trying to find their way as well. So they had the same issues as the Knicks. They'll come out flat, and then they'll play defense the way that they played in the second half. The Utah Jazz are a team that's going to play consistent defense.
No doubt.
And if the Knicks, like I said tonight, in the second half when the Lakers picked up the defense, the Knicks resorted to old habits. Or bad habits, let me say that, because they're not old habits yet. They still have these habits. They resorted to bad habits. They're trying to learn new habits, good habits. When they get to Utah, and the Utah Jazz come right out the gate playing that type of tough defense, are they going to rely on bad habits, or are they still going to try to implement these new habits they're trying to build? Because you can hear it all throughout their press conferences. They're trying to build this habit of playing fast, making quick decisions, and pushing the pace, not just in transition, but moving in the half court, how quickly the ball is passed, how hard you're coming off screens, et cetera, et cetera. Are they able to do that to start the game against the Utah Jazz? Or how can they learn? I guess the better question is, how can they learn how to continue to do it against pressure defense? Because they haven't been able to do it against pressure defense. They go back to those bad habits of isolation basketball. So I think it's a good question. How do they come out against the Jazz? When do they play? Monday?
I think that's a Monday.
It's Monday.
Okay. All right. To the rest of the panel, my usage of the word psyche, or rather, I'm starting to see fragile guys. Am I wrong?
They're worried about getting traded.
I think you're right. I think the team as a whole is fragile. I think they are.
And considering how young most of these guys are, now obviously we really got to develop young talent playing, so we just can't be trading and getting guys back that won't necessarily do anything. Now that trade with I admit I'm interested in that. That's intriguing. I wouldn't mind seeing Harrison Barnes here, to be honest, if that's a possibility, or Fox, or the star player that or Sacramento. But it's these coaches. I mean, we got Cam Reddish. He's only played 2 games since he got here.
2 games. 2 games since he got here.
I mean, it's again, and we've had this conversation before. You've had the conversation before about rosters and rotations and who's playing. Matter of fact, to your earlier call, I think your first caller's point with Quickly. I mean, he was like a blip, and he was in the rest of the game for the entire second half.
Yeah, entire second half. He didn't play.
I mean, I was kind of quasi not paying attention, but he screwed up with a play or something that Thibodeau benched him.
I really need to go back and look because I don't know why. I'm not sure. There's something that Thibodeau wasn't happy about. Don't know what it is, but there's something he wasn't happy about. I need to go back and check it out. I want to go, I'm going to watch that first half again. One, it's just going to make me feel good because of the way that they were playing. I'm just going to erase that second half and act like it doesn't exist.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah.
All right,
man.
And panel, appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.
As always, polished. And if you're going to be on after the Utah game, I'll get with you then. Matter of fact, I got a question I'll save for another time, but it relates to management of NBA teams, specifically these agents becoming GMs or presidents.
Okay. All right. Sounds like
another conversation.
No doubt.
Seriously.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Sam.
All right. Peace.
Thanks, Sam.
1 second. I seen Rob Allen in the chat said the unicorn that I'm looking for as far as a guy that can block shots as well as shoot it from the outside is Mo Bamba. And Rob, I was thinking about Mo Bamba. I'm not going to lie, but I know Orlando is not trying to move Mo Bamba. The time to get Mo was last season.
He's playing well.
That was the time to get Mo. And I talked about getting Terrence Ross, and I was like, and I would not mind bringing Mo Bamba along with him. Those were my 2 guys last year. Well, I wasn't championing Mo Bamba the way I was Terrence Ross. But
and it's crazy, Sam,
I said a couple times though that I'm not. I would love to bring Mo Bamba along with him. You know what I mean? Go ahead. Say sorry about that.
Nah, I was gonna say you probably could have got them penny on the dollars.
Yeah,
especially Mo Bamba.
Right.
Mo Bamba, you could have definitely got on penny on the dollars.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, it's like he finally. It's kind of crazy for him. It took him a while, and he's finally here.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's playing.
Now the only thing is though, which is interesting something about Mo Bamba is like, what are you paying him? Because he clearly isn't on the Luka, Trae Young, those guys level, and he's not on the Jared Jackson level. So what do you give him?
I don't know. I mean, you figured out. If the Knicks would have gotten him, you figured that out. When that time comes, I guess. Figure it out then.
Hey, Sim.
Yeah, go ahead, Nate.
Somebody I think that really would be a good fit on this team, but unfortunately he'd have to come off the bench, and I don't think he would do that. Is Ibaka?
Serge Ibaka. I mean, isn't he coming off the? Well, I guess on this team, maybe he wouldn't want to. He's coming off the bench over.
But
I was about to say he's on the Clippers. I think he is coming off the bench.
Yeah, he's coming off the bench, bench on the Clippers.
Well, I thought he was starting at some points, but I guess not. But that would be a guy that I would make a trade for.
I mean, Serge knows what he is now. He's not a starting power forward no more.
But he fits your need. He can block shots at times, and he can shoot the 3, and he can spread the court. He'd be a good backup behind Mitch.
The only thing I'm scared about Serge Ibaka is he's a little older. He's not the OKC Ibaka no more.
But he can still play, dude. Hey Sam, I have another question too. Yeah.
Sorry.
I have another question too. That caller brought up a great point about this team being fragile.
Mm-hmm.
I think this Knicks team, everybody's on pins and needles right now because they could possibly all be traded. And I think that maybe management has spoken with the players, letting them know that there might be some changes, just kept it real low key. And I think a lot of these players are just not sure what's going to happen. But after the trade deadline's over, then hopefully you want to see these players get their confidence back because they know they're going to be on the roster. But I definitely think a lot of players right now, with all the noise and the rumors and all that, I think a lot of these players are just wondering if they're going to be in New York after the trade deadline.
I mean, they probably are, but they're used to it. They got to be used to it every single year. Evan Fournier, every single year, he's not, maybe not every year, but a lot of the years that he's been in the league, there's been rumors about him being traded. Alec Burks, he's a journeyman. There's been rumors about him being traded.
But what about a guy like Quickly, who's been a favorite of the Knicks for a while? Who knows? He could very well be in a package for somebody else, and maybe he's kind of playing scared.
It's true.
A little bit.
I don't.
Yeah, but the rest of those guys, though, again, Evan Fournier literally got traded at the trade deadline. Alec Burks, he's a journeyman. He knows what this is. Kemba.
Yeah, I get that. I get what you're saying.
I'm not really worried about. Again, I'm not really worried about Quickly, man. Quickly, look. Has his play really been? You know what I'm saying? His play hasn't really been speaking volumes of keep me. If you want to be honest, if your name's not R.J. Barrett, Grimes, and Mitchell Robinson, your play hasn't been screaming keep me on the team, coach. So, be real. You got to be honest about it, man.
Did you say Grimes? Did you? You said who? You said what? Say that again.
Mitchell Robinson, Grimes, and
I said if your name's not R.J. Mitchell Robinson and Grimes, they're the only ones. They're the only ones that's screaming don't play me.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, tomorrow at 11 a.m., Steph is going to be on with the Queen's Court. All right, that's going to be pretty dope. So make sure you check that out tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. She's going to have a nice, I'm sure, break down this game a little bit, some more, go a little bit more detail, talk about the previous week, look at what's coming forward, talk about some draft, some trade, or a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh Lord, you already getting ready for the draft. Oh Lord.
Huh? Not yet. I'm not getting ready for it yet, but it's creeping. It's creeping. It's creeping.
Hey, Sim, hold on. Let me do this for you, Sim, because I know Sim's not going to be nice about it. Listen, guys. PSA. We are in February. Do not ask Sim about the draft, okay? Do not ask him about what players that he like. Don't ask him about, you watched the Duke game last? No, don't ask him in February, okay? We got March Madness. Wait for the draft till March. Can we at least watch March Madness, guys, please? Because Lord have mercy. Sim, I'm telling you right now, I know Sim. He's not going to. Sim says don't ask him about the draft in February. Don't ask him.
Yeah, not in February. Not in February. I'm not ready yet. Although I have started planning the draft party in Atlantic City, so we have started planning that.
Hey,
we've started.
We out.
Started having discussions already. So I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that one this year, ladies and gentlemen. Ready for it. But anyway.
Tim, can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
I've been watching the show. And you mentioned the Queen's Court, wonderful show, excellent show, right? Stephanie and I think it was Josh were on the panel the other day, and Quentin Grimes had that great game, and I love QG in the spirit of playing the young guys. I would love to see him flourish. Don't get me wrong, but somebody really asked that show, do we think he's better than R.J. Barrett? And I just found it to be disrespectful. I want to salute to R.J. Barrett. Shout out for getting 36. Don't worry, Zay. We're going to get our 40-piece point special from R.J. soon. And, shout out to Zay. You've been holding it down very well. Zay is muted. But you've been holding it down. You've been doing well on this show, my brother. I'm proud of you. All right.
Hey, man. I appreciate it, Savvy. I got this guy.
He's learning. He's learning, Savvy. He's learning. He's learning. He's getting it. Takes a lot of training and a lot of coaching, but
hey, that's why you a coach, then you got the patience for it.
There you go. Hit that like button. Okay.
Yeah, get them likes up before we go, man. Get them likes up, man.
No doubt. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna head up out of here. Knicks took an L tonight. Tough one. They took the L tonight. But we'll be back at it on Monday, ladies and gentlemen, in Utah. 9 p.m. The Knicks take on the Utah Jazz.
Jesus.
9 p.m.
On to the next one.
On to the next one, man. On to the next one. Sounded like Swiss
Stop
beats
asking.
over
Don't
here.
ask him about the draft, okay?
Sounded like Swiss
That's
beats
my last
over
word.
And BK all day, baby.
here. Yeah, we out, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you. Make sure you catch it. The Queen's Court tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. And yeah, we about to get up out of here. Be peaceful, ladies and gentlemen. Out.
Have a good night.
And BK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Nick.